It's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going way back to the World War II era. We're going to be in occupied France trying to steal a bunch of artwork. We're looking at Operation Faust here, which is Fine Art Underground Stolen Treasures. This is a game for 3 to 8 players, plays in about 30 minutes from Robert Burke Games. This is a bluffing and deduction game, more bluffing than deduction, pretty much all bluffing, with a little bit of deduction. Anyway, let's take a look, I'll show you how it's played, I'll see you on the other side. In this game, you're going to be trying to steal art and $1 million of art. Some paintings are just normal paintings, like the Mona Lisa. It's worth $500,000. There might be some degenerate paintings. These are more modern pieces of art that Hitler did not like, and they're usually worth less, and they're a lot more easy to get stolen from you once you have them. There's also some that are forgeries, which can be worth a lot of money, but they're worth nothing unless you get a certificate of authenticity during the game. And some of them might be a combination of both. This is both a degenerate and a forgery. So that's what you're trying to do in the game. Let's talk about how it works. Every person will start the game with 5 intelligence or intel. This is the currency in the game. They will also start with 2 what's called plot cards. These plot cards are going to be some special secret roles that you will never show to anybody for most of the game, and they're going to give you some special abilities. Everyone starts with 2 of those and 5 intel. Now this game comes with a really nice player aid that shows all the roles, all the abilities, and it tells you the different actions you can do on your turn. One of the things you can do is you can pay 4 intel to the bank, and you can get a new plot card. So I started with 2, and now I have 3, so I actually have 2 spies and a French resistance right now. If I had 10 intel, which is a lot, I could spend it to get any piece of art that's face down here. This is the art cache, which some people will be able to see. We'll show you that later. Or you can take one off the top. So let's say I spent 10 and I get a piece of art. You're only doing 1 action per turn, then it's going to the next player. It moves very fast. This is always kept secret. Nobody else would see this except me. And this is a degenerate, it's 350,000, and I would keep it down so nobody could see it, but it stays right in front of me face down for the game. A different action you could take is you could pay 3 intel to the bank and get a certificate of authenticity, because this is, let's just assume that this was a forgery. You cannot win the game without this if you have any forgery paintings. The other actions you could take are role specific. And again, these are cards that are going to be in your hand. This tells you how many of them there are. 11 for the French resistance, all the way down to only 2 ally cards. Let's look at these different abilities. Now each card has 2 abilities. They have what's called a hand ability and a table ability. With a hand ability, you're just going to hold it in your hand. You're going to say, and again, this is, you just get 1 action per turn. You could take 2 intel for the pool for every French resistance card you hold. So let's say I was holding 2 French resistance, or maybe not, but I just want to lie about it. I could say, nope, I'm just holding my cards. I'm just going to take 2 intel for each French resistance. I've got 2 of them. I'm going to take 4. And everyone could either let that slide or they can challenge you. We'll talk about challenges in just a moment. So that's what the French resistance can do here. Or you could table it, which means you would take one of these French resistance cards, you would put it face down in front of you, and then you would say, I'm going to draw 2 new plot cards, then discard 1 of them from my hand. So I would get to draw 2 more of these plot cards and discard any 1 from my hand. Now, again, this is a table event. So when you table this, after that action, this gets discarded. So when you table an event, it's a more powerful event, and you lose that card afterwards. The next one's the spy. The hand ability is you can secretly look at any 2 art cards. So maybe I want to secretly take these. Nobody else would see these but me, and I would look at them. We have a forgery worth nothing. Oh, this is actually Hitler's painting, which is worth nothing because nobody wants, because Hitler actually painted it. And this one's a degenerate for 200. Neither of those are very good, but now I know where they are, and I know I don't want to grab those. The table ability is you could buy a piece of art for 3 less, so for 7. Now, if you had 2 spies, you could buy it for 6 less. And again, those are table abilities. Those are the ones you would put face down, you would discard after it's done. The art dealer. You can say you're the art dealer in your hand and just take 3 intel from the pool. It's a way to get a lot of income. Or you can trade any art card that I hold for a random art card held by another player. Let's say maybe I have a forgery and I don't have an authenticity certificate, and I want to get rid of it. So I could just trade it away to somebody else. And again, that's a table ability, so you could trade art. Maybe I have this 0 painting, I want to give it to somebody else. Double Agent. You can steal 3 intel from a player by using his hand ability. But remember, there's only 3 of these cards. You just take 3 from somebody else and steal it. Table ability is look at 1 art card from an art held by another player, and if there is a degenerate card, you will confiscate it. So you can play this as a table ability and say, I'm going to look at your art card, I'm going to look at them, and you will look at their art card. If it's degenerate, you steal it, and now it's yours. Double Agent is tough. The Allies card is the most powerful game in the game. There's only 2 of them. One of them is take 3 from the pool. Also ignore the Double Agent and the Art Dealer. So when the Double Agent and the Art Dealer try to steal stuff from you, or try to trade art with you, you can claim that you have the allies and they can't do it, and then again another challenge ensues. Or you can table this and look at all the art cards held by one player and confiscate 1 forgery. So maybe you have an authenticity here, and you look at somebody else, you get to look at all of their art, and you take this and you just get to keep it, and now you just made a lot of money. Those are the different cards. Now let's talk about how a challenge works. So let's say I have these 2 cards, Art Dealer and French Resistance, and they're in my hand. And I'm going to use the Art Dealer's hand ability, which is take 3 intel from the pool. Let's say someone calls me out and they challenge. First of all, you always need at least 2 intel to challenge. Someone challenges me, and I have 2 choices. I can either show them this card and show them that I'm correct, and then I'll end up discarding this card, but they will pay me half of their money that they have rounded up. So if the player that challenged me had 6, he would have to pay me 3 of that, and I would get to take 3 from that, but then because I showed it to him, it would go away in the pile. Now, if I did not have the Art Dealer, let's say I had 2 French Resistance cards, and I said, I'm using the Art Dealer to get 3, and this is a hand ability. If they challenge me and I know I'm wrong, I can either basically just pay my half, so let's say I had 6. I would pay them my half, which is 3, to them, and I have the option of either discarding this face down or keeping it if it's a hand ability. So the loser always pays half. You have to have 2 to challenge. If it's a hand ability, you can decide when you lose to discard or not. Now, if it's a table ability, like let's say the Art Dealer, and I table this and I say, I'm trying to get a card for, just trade somebody's card, mine for somebody else. And I say, I'm using the Art Dealer. And somebody else that has, let's say they have 6, and they're going to challenge me. Now, again, with this, since it's a tabled action, if I know I'm lying, or I just don't want to tell the truth, or I don't want to go on with the action, I can discard this face down. Nobody will know what it is, and I will end up paying this guy half of mine rounded up. So he would get 2, and I'd get 1 back from the bank. If it's correct, then again, I would show it to him. He would pay me half, he'd give me the 3, and then I'd get to do my ability, and then this would get discarded. Now, when you discard like that, you will always draw up to make sure that you have 2 of these plot cards. You don't draw up any more than that, but if you just discard it and you don't have 2, draw another one. So even though you use a table ability, and whether you're getting challenged or not, it's going to go away at the end of the turn, it's okay because you're going to get another card back, assuming you don't have 2. Now, this game will end immediately when somebody has $1 million of paintings, and if they have a forgery or multiple forgeries, they need 1 of these certificate of authenticities for each forgery. Now, even if they had enough to win, let's just say $1 million without the forgery, they still need a certificate of authenticity there to win the game. And you can win on anybody's turn. You get a painting on somebody else's turn by weird things that are going on, you win right away. And then also, these certificates of authenticity, if you lose a challenge, you can give them 1 of these instead of paying half rounded up. First one that gets to $1 million is the winner. Also, on the back of the player aid is a good reference that has some of the rules, some of them that are easy to miss. Like, for example, the forged documents, there's only 1 of them put out for each of the players that are there. Different things like that. You have to round it up, 1 is 1. You have to discard, things like that. They give you little rules there that help clarify the game on the back of the player aid. All right, this game was under my radar. I hadn't really heard a whole lot about it. Actually, quite honestly, I hadn't even heard about it. I don't know how this happened. But I was convinced to play it at Dice Tower Con that just ended, and wow, am I glad I did. This is a fantastic game. Now, when it comes to bluffing games, I typically like games that have a bluffing element to it. But I don't always like the games that are really all about bluffing. They're hit or miss for me. This one is really all about bluffing, but man, it is so good. It's an excellent, excellent game. Now, most people will probably compare this mostly to Coup, because in Coup, it's the same type of thing where you're trying to bluff rolls that people don't know, and they're going to compare it mostly to that. With that being said, it's still very different from Coup. And in my opinion, this is a lot better than Coup. In fact, now that I've played this, I probably won't ever play Coup again, and here's why. This has no player elimination. This game, you actually feel like you're doing something. You're trying to get those paintings, you're trying to do things, and it just feels very different. I like the fact that it plays a wide range of players. Yes, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play, so it is longer than Coup, but it doesn't feel longer. I love the historical theming here. I love how everything makes sense thematically and mechanically with which guys you're using. I like the real art. They actually used real artists and real art paintings in this game, and they even show like the real pictures of that historical, very well-known double agent that's in the game. So I love it. I like historic themes, so that fit my bill as well. It's just an awesome game, and here's where the game really takes off, is there's this element of timing your bluff, because everyone has to have 2 intel to call a challenge on a bluff. So when people have a lot of money, they have to pay half their money if they're wrong. So there's this ebb and flow of the game of what happens is you're looking around, if a ton of people have money, if everybody has a lot of money, that's the time to bluff, because no one's gonna wanna risk all that money to call you out on something. And on the other hand, is if not a lot of people have, people have like 2 intel, it only costs them 1 to call you out. So you're probably gonna get called out. So that you either better be telling the truth, or you better be like, waiting a little bit. So I love that because it gives you some different opportunity times. It's not all about bluffing, it's about timing and watching what people are doing. And what did he do over there? Oh, he took a degenerate painting, now I know he has one. Let me go get there, it's a 50-50 shot. I can use my special roll to get that. Ooh, he's got a forgery card. I'm gonna use my allies card to table it and go get his forgery. So there is some deduction as to what's going on. The rolls work really well. It is a fantastic game. It's probably one of my favorite bluffing games now. This is gonna be the first one I suggest when someone says let's play a bluffing game. It's awesome, it's quick, it's thematic, the artwork's great. Nothing bad I can say about this game other than if you play with new players, don't play with 7 or 8 because it's way too long. If you play with all experienced players, it moves very fast. Every turn goes very fast, so 7 and 8 is okay with really experienced players. Excellent bluffing game. Wow, I was blown away. This thing hit me out of nowhere, and it's awesome. If you liked Coup or any type of bluffing game, you owe it to yourself to check this game out because it is excellent. That's Operation Faust.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.